We just give it a couple of minutes to see if Jeff is going to call in. So, Firas, who's in the room with you? I know I heard Nina.
Yes, Nina and Trevor is here.
Okay.
Maybe Arvin will come, but he's not here.
Okay. Elizabeth, you're on the line.
Yeah.
Yes.
No. Yeah.
And then Nansu and Tim. Okay.
Hey, this is Jeff.
Hi, Jeff. So maybe then we can get started. So we have Firas, Nina, Elizabeth, Nansu, Tim, and Jeff on the call. Did I miss somebody?
Trevor is here.
Yeah.
Oh, Trevor. Okay. Sorry about that. So basically, for the agenda today, we have updates on some action items, and then maybe a brief recap of the Biocaddy all hands meeting. And if we are going to, we have a list of potentially new features that we want to include into DataMed. And basically, besides that, if there are any other updates from the other team members, that's what we're going to look at. So for the data type ontology, Alejandra and Philippe have gone through the first pass. And I do not know if anybody went in and reviewed it, because they did want us to go and review it and provide them feedback.
I mean, maybe what we should do is take a pass against the repositories.
Using their ontology?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we could set up a spreadsheet with the repositories and then do the mappings there.
Okay.
Or that's sort of the real test, right?
Yeah, exactly. So right now we're going to manually map the reports to the ontology.
Some of the repos might already provide that information that we're using, so we may have to map their value to the ontology's value.
So what I noticed, actually we did, maybe I'll talk a little bit more about it when I talk about the revision. We did some kind of evaluation for the revision, and when I did part of the evaluation, and when we did that, what I noticed was that for at least a couple of the repositories, we do have data type or types of data information, and some of them have been, for the most part, a lot of them have not been mapped, I think. We just have not included it in the mapping. So I wonder if we would do that, and if the repositories have multiple how should I say, multiple data types, how will we map them? At the data set level?
Yeah, I mean, it should be, I mean, if they provide the information, it should be at the data level. It gets a bit trickier if that isn't provided and they have multiple data types. But I don't know if that's the case, if there's any repository that does that, because then you'd have to look at other parts of the data record to try and figure out.
Yeah, how to do the mapping, right?
Yeah, because it could be, for example, the types of files that are made available for a data set. You can sometimes get data set information from that.
All right.
Data set, yeah.
So maybe just we can get started with the spreadsheet that we mentioned and then have a list of all the repositories and then start doing the mapping again.
Yep. Because it would be good to coordinate this with the ID, the Curie remapping, which Yuling has been working on, and I think she's almost finished.
So should we just, so Yuling, I know Yuling told me that she does have a spreadsheet. Do you just want to have it as a Google spreadsheet and share it and just add in a column for the data type?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. That would be, yeah.
Okay.
Because once both of those are complete, then we can rerun everything, and then we'll have updated identifiers and updated data types.
Okay. So will you ask her to share it with the CDT then?
Yeah, sure. I don't know if she's on the call or not, but
I will share it.
Okay.
Also, okay, so that sounds like a good plan. For the JMEA revision, we submitted the revised manuscript on the 12th. We actually did do quite an extensive amount of modifications, especially because we did some evaluations that the reviewers asked for. So we basically had evaluations at almost every step, and that I did send out the final submitted form of the paper to everybody who's on the author list. If you did not receive it, please let me know and I'll resend it out. And as part of the JMEA revision, we also made most of the repositories or the code public, because that was one of the, what we said would be one of the goals of DataMed, is to actually allow others to reuse the code and build their own specialized indices if they would like that. Also, in response to DataMed version 3, we wrote a blog for the data science at NIH blog. I don't know exactly when that will come out, so I'll keep you updated whenever it comes out. And the other thing was, which I did want to pass on to everybody, is that Lucilla received emails from Jenny as well as Ron saying that the DataMed version 3 looks very good. And I also got an email from Ron saying that he had a couple of corrections to the JMEA paper, but he also said that the DataMed version 3 really looks good. So thank you all for all the hard work that you did to release the DataMed on time and everything, all the features that we have there. And then I wanted to remind folks that we will have a discussion call tomorrow with Cedar and the Common Pilot people. At the meeting is at 3 p.m. Eastern. I do not know if you're interested in. I know that the meeting invitation was not sent out to everybody, but if any of you are interested in joining in on this discussion, do let me know and I can forward the call-in information. So this would be basically a brief discussion, I think, about the back-end capabilities that are required to be able to connect any of the Commons data sets via Cedar to be indexed by BioCaddy. So, Jeff, you think from our end it wouldn't be too much work, right?
I mean, really it's, setting up the forms, how they want them set up, which, Yuling has been doing, and it's easy to set up a form to capture the information. So as long as we can get it from Cedar, it should be really straightforward.
Okay. But they wanted it for digital objects, right? So we have it for data sets. Yuling, I know, was working on getting it done also for software. And what was the other thing that they wanted? I think workflow.
But the core data set information is basically what you want for software and workflows, right?
Okay, so it would.
So it's a description, any publications. For software, we could add things like operating system and thing like that, but that's something we can clarify with, with the Common Fund people, what they want.
So I do know that for data sets as well, we have an associated attribute, which is called the software attribute, right? So should we just pull that in and say we need those additional information for software?
That's useful for the data set and the workflow piece. For the software, it could be also for the software piece, but for software, you might want to describe the operating system of that piece of software itself, for example.
Right.
But that's, I think, the main addition.
So I can just tell you what I version 2.2. Because when we have like a core entity and we have some software as part of the data set core entities, right? Let me show you exactly. Share desktop. So do you see my screen, which actually has the DAX 2.2 core entities? So here you see there is an entity called software, and maybe the attributes that we have associated with this software entity is what we can just ask them to provide. Anyway, we can talk about this tomorrow when we have the discussion with the Common folks again.
Yeah, so, okay. trying to see because that didn't show pieces of software.
Sorry.
So.
Did you want to look at it again, Jeff?
No, I can go to the spreadsheet and take a look real quick.
Okay. So besides that, at the Biostudy All Hands meeting, I think Jeff and Hua presented the CDT work, and both of those were well received. Currently, for the no-cost extension, the plans are to carry on deeper indexing for some certain repositories, not every one of them, but I think a couple of them, and also to have based on this deeper indexing, we would have some inter-repository linkages. And the second part of the no-cost extension would be schema.org, extension of the schema.org work that is ongoing right now. So these are the two things that have been suggested as to what we do further down. We haven't heard anything back from them, from the NIH folks, so we will wait to hear back from them. Until then, I guess we just continue taking care of what we have been doing so far. So potentially, I do not know if this is possible, but the plan is to expand to more data repositories. And when I was doing the evaluation, I did think that there were some where the mapping was not done very well. And so there were some repositories that I thought we probably should look again and maybe remap. But besides that, we are also still in the process of integrating the ranking algorithms. Basically, this would be implementation of the pilot projects from Emory and UIUC. And I don't think we are going to immediately delve into the common data elements. That's the deeper searching that I was just talking about. But there were certain other new functions which had been on our list but weren't completed. So these are the things that I think we could potentially complete. One is to display the most accessed data sets. This would be based on the user tracking data that we have been collecting. So based on that, we will have the most accessed data sets that will show up on the UI. We also have a word cloud implementation for the search results visualization, and this is based off of the NLP metadata fields that we have added to the repositories. But I know that Xiaoling said she tried to implement it, but there was some issue with it. So I think, Virat, tomorrow when we talk to Divakar, maybe we can find out exactly what the issue is, and then it should be fairly easy to implement this. For the advanced search, I think currently we have probably 4 or 5 the metadata fields available in advanced search. I think the plan was to actually have all the metadata fields that are there that could be searched. So I don't know if we need to maybe look into that a little bit. And the fourth part would be alerts to new results from saved searches. I currently don't know how much work that would be. So maybe after the first 3 are done, then we can start looking into whether this is something that could be done easily or not. In addition, we also have been there have been requests for having that compliant output from DataMed. Shaolin looked into this, and Sirat and Shaolin, I think, had a discussion whether to see if we could use our existing API to actually do this. Sirat, do you just want to comment about what you guys talked?
So it was not very clear. I had to check the code for this.
But I remember Shaolin told me that it's not very straightforward to do this.
Yes, that's what I mean. It's not very clear. So
right. And also, I think Jeff said that maybe we will, that it's probably going to be harder, right, Jeff, to do it based off of the indexing.
Sorry, I lost you there for a second. To do. Anu? Hello?
Yeah, hi. Yeah.
No, I lost you for a second there. What harder to do?
So if we want to have that compliant metadata as an output from DataMed,
mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, it's actually pretty straightforward.
If we do it from the UI API.
Well, I mean, you'd have to put something in the API to unwind some of the elements. So, for example, in the index, the dates that are represented. So in DATS, dates are represented as a compound object in JSON. But in an index, a compound object like that, you can't search the attribute value pairs distinctly because of the way Lucene basically flattens the index components.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically what one has to do is then take, date, date published and date submitted, and basically create a date block where it's like elements. You have the element with the date and then submitted, and then the next element, the date, and published, right? So what's in the DAT spec. So that's the type of unwinding that has to occur. And it should be pretty straightforward to do because it's really for a lot of those attribute value pairs that indexes tend to flatten.
Okay. So maybe perhaps sometime later you can look at the code and then see, figure out how to do this. And if you think you need more discussion, maybe we can have an offline conversation with Jeff.
Yes, it will be more helpful for us.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we can set up a separate call to walk through it if you'd like.
Yeah, I mean, I think after Firat kind of takes a look at it, and then once he has done some background work, something, then maybe we can talk about it.
Yes. So the basic thing is we have to change the output of API results, and I think we have to know what mappings to change, right? So we have to talk about that.
Okay. And I guess that is all that I wanted to talk about today. Was there anything that we should talk about in addition to what we already did? So if not, then I guess we'll finish early today. Also, please, if you're modifying anything, please make sure that you deposit the code in GitHub. And as always, if you don't have access to it, please let me know, and I'll provide. Make sure you have access to GitHub. If there is nothing else, then I guess that's it for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Anu.
Bye.